Hi everyone, Mr. T here, back again from sunny Dominican Republic. Thanks for tuning in and for watching all the other videos if you've been searching around in my channel. Now this one is about moving to Dominican Republic, and me helping other people with my channel is about preempting questions that you may have when you sit overseas and you're speculating. I know what it felt like before I came here, which is about 14 odd years ago. And when somebody can just reassure you that, yeah, this is how you thought it was, that goes a long way. So that's what I'm trying to do with these kind of videos. Let's get into it. This should be a lot better than where you are. And now we have completely new times with this boogie virus floating around, or so they claim. So with this whole CV situation around the world, there's a lot of tyrannical countries, governments have gone rogue, and you have to weigh up the pros and cons of, the place that I used to love, is it really a lovely place to be anymore? I like the proverb, good plants don't grow in poisonous soil. So if you find that it's turned poisonous where you are, and there's several things from your work situation or income situation to the rules, the regulations, the mentality of the people. If it just all seems like too crappy, then it's maybe time to make that move. They say about ships, they're safe in harbour, but that's not what ships are built for. And that's the same with our lives. We can stay within the same town all our lives, but is that what we are built for? Adventure is part of feeling alive. So, even if you try to live here for 2 years, you didn't like it, you could always return again. I don't want to get into what's so cool about Dominican Republic because my channel is packed with videos about that. So do some searching around when you see a topic you like. 10 cool places to check out around Sosua Cabareta. Click on that video, watch it, learn from it. This video is more about moving down here, and the practical aspects of that, so let's get into it. The first thing I would do is visit for 3 to 4 weeks first. Don't come here for 1 week and then think that you can decide which city or town you should choose, etc. Take a good 3-4 weeks and then try out different places first. Before you come, maybe try to figure out, based on videos that you can find online in my channel and other channels, whether Punta Cana seems more like your area, or Santo Domingo, or the north coast here where I am. So once you've kind of isolated that, then you can hone in on some of the towns in that region. So if it was the north coast, you may take 1 week accommodation in Sosua, 1 week in Cabareta, and 1 week in Cabrera, and then from there you can travel out to other towns and have a look what it's like. So that way you get a feel for what's best for you. Some people want a real tranquilo lifestyle. Others want a tranquilo lifestyle, but where they can also go into a lot of action in the afternoons or evenings. Some people prefer like Sosua or Puerto Plata because you have like 7 to 10 minutes you're at an airport where there's a whole lot of international people in these areas coming in and out. That's one of the things I like. I'm in a very tranquil place, but if I want to get into all the action, I'm only just minutes away and there's all the noise and the people. And for business reasons as well, I like to be able to meet new people, and it keeps it interesting. All right, next thing is Sosua Cabareta. I chose this area because it's like a crutch in terms of language. Coming here 14 odd years ago, I didn't speak any Spanish at all. So if you're like me, no Spanish, or you speak very little Spanish, you're going to be able to enjoy the convenience of a lot of Dominicans speaking English or some English, and a lot of foreigners who's around to give you advice or a helping hand. Because they've chosen this area as well. The other aspect to that is for 40 plus years, foreigners have been bringing their standards here. So the service can be crappy, but in some places it's a lot better than what you might find around the country. And technology here has also improved, and the infrastructure, because foreigners expect it. So you can enjoy that aspect where if you drive to certain parts of the country, you see rubbish everywhere, and just like the internet service may not work very well, or you can't find decent providers, or other things that could really frustrate you because you're used to something else. So here we get the sun, sand, surf and technology in one package, and good infrastructure, because we like good running water, we want electricity 24/7, we want internet to work fast and efficient. So there's a lot of people who's settled here and established businesses in the Sosua Cabaretta area that can provide these kind of services. Now, who are they and how do you find the names and numbers? Well, I have a service called InfoHub, and in that service you can find, it's like my brain on a website for this area. There's also everything about being a tourist here, an expat here, investing here, lots of Q&As. So check it out. It's the top right hand corner of my, I call it my ScrewTube channel, YouTube ScrewTube. Top right hand corner, click on InfoHub. It's $19.95, one-time joining fee, and you can get a ton of good information in there. All right, next thing is, when you're in this Sosua Cabaretta area, assuming this is where you might want to check it out, I also do tours. So I have a 3-hour introduction tour, at least to start with, and during that I can point out which companies I find are friendly, efficient and honest. And that's everything from the freight company you may need if you want to order stuff through Amazon, to the insurance brokers that you need, to car rental, where you set up the telephone account, etc., etc. So you'll get a lot of information, detailed information in a 3-hour period. So contact me at info@educatedtraveler.info and I'll send you my price plan for my services there, including consultancy, because everybody's goals are different. So I will tailor make my consultancy based on your goals, and we don't need to talk about kite surfing if you're not into kite surfing, and if you're into that, then we can focus intensely on that. Anyway, there's a lot of towns here, but at least if you're 1 week in each town that you want to try out to start with, then you get a good feel whether you like the vibe of that town and the nightlife, etc., etc., if you're into that. Gated communities versus condo complexes versus living in the countryside. On my little tour, by the way, that I offer, I'll take you around, if you want, to different communities, and there's pros and cons of each one. Some, if you're buying in these communities, have fees that you need to pay. Others only have small fees and some have none. And if you're renting, they have rules as well. So some, you have to park the motorbike just as you get through the gate, and then anybody who comes to visit you have to walk through lots of street to the top of a hill. That may annoy you. Some gated communities, they crank up the power bill. Others don't. So this kind of knowledge you only gain with time down here, and this is what I can help pass on to you, so you can make a fully informed, adult, rational decision where is best for you. Again, if you want to contact me, it's info@educatedtraveler.info.
It's too late. I said it's too late to apologize. It's too late.
Let's just get into the resident stuff. There's a lot of people who contact me and they're already trying to communicate with embassies, etc., about this visa and that visa, or lawyers, etc. Don't be in a rush to become a resident. You will be treated down here as a visitor forever. You can be here 2 years, 10 years, 25 years. They will still look at you as a visitor, and they call us gringas or gringos. So if you're female, you're a gringa, and if you're male, you're a gringo. Hey gringo, you're a visitor to them. So you may as well act and behave like a visitor in every way of the word. So I would just arrive here. There's a $10 airport tax built in usually to your air ticket. Just arrive here and then stay as long as you need to stay. And there's something here called a government legalized overstay program And if a lot of the residents who came here had known that, they probably would have chosen that, because the immigration department in this country, sorry to say it, are a bunch of thugs who keep moving the goalpost on people. I wouldn't have to say those words if they were honest and helpful and reliable. Even my lawyer says that they keep chipping and chopping and changing things in their websites, and it's a real mess in terms of finding out the real prices of things, or how long things are going to take, or how long your initial residency step takes, and the next one, they move the goalpost on that as well. And they like to offer these VIP packages not to be messed around, etc. So most people just get totally sick of it and prefer just to pay the overstay fine as they leave the country. And it's like asking for, yeah, I've stayed more than the time I was allowed. You can see the date in my passport. Can you tell me how much I owe you? That's how simple it is. And then they say, well, you've stayed here for 2 years, so you need to pay X amount of pesos. And if you join InfoHub, the chart is in there, and we try to get the latest one or obtain that whenever we can. But that's a simpler way to do it. They may not like me saying that, but hey, they came up with it. So I'm just putting out to you what's out there and available. So don't rush into all this residency stuff. And it's also easier to learn about when you're here speaking to lots of other residents who's gone through it. I mean, with me, they lost my original birth certificate, and I was very nervous about giving them that, because I said, I don't want anybody to lose that. Then I got to go through a lot of hassle contacting my home country. And no, we won't lose it, but they did. Anyway, moving on from that, you're going to rent something, obviously, if you come down here. So I can't give you specific objects right here on camera, because it keeps changing as people are moving in and out. Some people are snowbirds, so they rent their place out part of the year, and then they come and stay in it the other part of the year. But if you join InfoHub, which is the service in the top right hand corner I mentioned of my channel, in there you can find a guy called Henning. I won't say his company name or number on the camera here, but join InfoHub, and he's a rental agent and property manager as well, and you can get in contact with him and find out what objects are available at that very time. There's also others that you can contact that you'll find in my service, so you can find out the rentals that you're looking for. Renting a vehicle, in InfoHub you're going to find that as well, the companies, the numbers, and just don't give your passport to them. You know, let them take a photocopy of that. I would get a third-party insurance, so if you are involved in an accident, at least the other parties are covered. There's also an insurance, if there was people killed in that accident, help you get to what they call a hotel jail with a lawyer supplied to you, rather than being thrown in the brink down here. That's not very comfortable. So just ask the rental company about that insurance, that if there was 3 Dominicans killed in an accident and they claim you caused it, well, at least you'll be somewhere comfortable with communication devices, etc., until the lawyers sort it all out. Let's get into what you're used to and not used to in terms of regulations. When we come from a lot of westernized countries, we're used to laws that prevent us becoming victimized in lots of ways. Sometimes those laws victimize us too. But one of the things I've noticed about foreigners coming down here, they're used to a fast pace and highly strung. I was probably one of them, but I believe, I was fairly balanced when I got here, but still you honk your horn and why is this guy stopping, and just ignoring everybody else who's there in the queue behind that vehicle. Well, he's talking to Jose, and he has to ask him how the birthday party went last Sunday, and then everybody else have to sit there and wait. And not to give Germans too hard a time, but they seem to yell and scream and honk the horn, was ist das? And they get really heated up to the point where they nearly get a heart attack. There's a cultural difference, and you probably shouldn't move down here if you can't at least get on the journey to accepting that. So sometimes we move faster in the traffic here because of the way they are, because they don't want to sit at traffic lights waiting. They don't slam their brakes at an orange light. No, they'll try to speed up and get through the light. So there's certain things that'll speed up things, but then there's other situations where you just have to, okay, I'll check my cell phone while Jose talks to Juan about that birthday party. And when they're done doing that, well, then the traffic moves again. I mean, it's just one of those funny things down here, but laugh at it, don't get a heart attack over it. Okay, used to colder people. In many countries, because we come from cities and that, you just walk past people don't smile and say hello. That's not the case down here. They are so hungry, literally, for eye contact and you saying, hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien, gracias, you know, and that kind of whole interaction of connecting. And their families are a lot more connected than people typically are overseas. So that's a beautiful thing about Dominicans. But if you come down here and you don't give them that, they will look at you instantly as a snob, as a cold person. They'll remember, oh yeah, those favors that you may have wanted won't come your way because you snobbed them last time. Anyway, eye contact, I just had that written down. Give them eye contact. Sometimes, especially the Haitians here, they can look quite suspicious. But when you go, hola, they light up like a Christmas tree, and you'll be amazed what comes back. You get 10 times back what you put out. Not used to chaotic motorbike driving. So let's say you've rented a vehicle. They will come on the inside, on the outside, they will cut in front of you because you're just coming up to a light, and they will race up in front of your vehicle and then shoot into the side street in front of you. They say you've got to have 8 eyes to drive down here, and it's true. So you always got to check every angle and check whether there's a motorbike coming, because they're especially the ones that are unpredictable. But there's other unpredictable situations as well that you got to get used to. Taxi drivers are prone to slam their brakes because they want 25 pesos from somebody who may need a ride, and they don't worry about whether you're driving a big Mack truck coming behind them. So you got to keep your distance, always be ready to swerve around these taxis or minibuses. You're just not used to the driving in general. So maybe spend some time going around with others to start with till you kind of get the feel of it. People use eye contact, body language. No, you go. No, you go. Oh, thank you. You know, a lot more than just trusting traffic lights. If you just trust the traffic lights and think, I've got right of way, you'll probably end up in an accident, because assumption is the mother of all mistakes. If you assume that, okay, they saw me, well, they probably didn't see you. We also use the horns a lot down here, and it's not an insult to just go, you know, with your horn. Many times when I do it, driving my off-roader, people just slam the brakes because I just tooted. Had I not tooted, they would have driven right out in front of me because they were coming fast and reckless. Not used to shitty, slow service. If you go into a bar, sometimes you'll be shocked by how unaware that they are, because they are there to make their money. That's about it with some of them. You know, what you see is what you get. Some are good, some are not. I even had a gentleman who would pick up his telephone. He knew the number of the waitress, and he's just sitting around a square bar, one of those island bars, and she's on her telephone just communicating, and he rings her telephone and says, yeah, this is Ken from the other side of the bar. Can I have another Bohemia? And she says, oh my God, you know, but he got her attention. She wasn't paying attention when he sometimes yelled out for her. So that takes a bit of getting used to. And I've seen one American guy, he was slamming his fist in the table and, I demand service. I'm the one with the money here. So you should be serving me when I goddamn ask you to come over. And you know, don't get a heart attack over it. They are the way they are. What you see is what you get. You can't turn them into something that they are not. That's their culture. It's a lot more slow-paced and tranquilo. I find the Dominicans, when I watch them at a bar, they're very loud, but part of that loudness is Jose maybe yelling out, hey, Josefina, una más cerveza aquí. You know, one more beer over here. And then Josefina goes, oh, okay, un momento, ¿qué quieres? Oh, Bohemia normal. Okay, what do you want? And you know, that's just the way they do it. So the long-timers here, expats, they get loud too to get what they want. And they learn the names of the staff, etc., to be able to yell out for them. Now, you may also have to get used to the bartering here. People, they barter a lot when they sell stuff, and there's a lot of direct sales people walking around trying to sell cell phone covers, other trinkets. So they're going to start maybe 3 times higher than what they expect to get. And if you want to look at that as dishonest, they just look at it as bartering. They've just learnt that from somebody else, that, you know, if you want 500, you ask 1,500. So you got to get in there and barter, and you have to be quick to say precio dominicano. Okay, I want the Dominican price. Okay, I may be recapping a few things here that I've mentioned in videos before, but they say champions are brilliant on the basics, so just take it on board again as a good reminder. And then there's other new stuff, but one of them is hustling and begging. You will be approached a lot by them, and in the beginning especially, it's important to say no, because in their eyes, once a sucker, you're always a sucker. And they'll even tell their hustling friends that, oh, he or she is easy to get money out of, and then they come for you as well. So that includes the cops, by the way. They came up to me and tapped on the tank of their motorbike and said, oh, we got no gasolina. And I said, do you want to listen to the sound of mine? I said, well, that's even more empty. Can you put some in mine? And then they just start the motorbike and they bug off. And that's good. Okay, they may not want to be so helpful in the future towards me, but I don't want to be harassed by cops and then they tell other cops, oh, he's a real sucker, go for him. You know, because a lot of them are just hustlers in uniforms. But with the general hustler on the street, you know, you just say, no gracias. Or if they're begging for money, you say, no, I'm not into that. I don't do that. I don't have a money tree in my garden. I'm sorry. But if it's people that are disabled, you know, then you may choose to give them some money, and that's usually, you know, 50 to 100 pesos will do the trick to make them happy. No more than that, or you start spoiling them, and then they never want to get out of it, even if they do have healthy limbs. You know, I've seen a guy throw 500 pesos at a little kid just because he rubbed his tummy. You've just cancelled that kid's future. Why would he ever want to become a productive human being again, when he can get suckers like that guy to hand him 500 pesos just by rubbing his tummy? I wish people would give me 500 pesos if I rub my nose or tummy. That would be nice. I'll be rubbing it a lot. Anyway, loud music, you got to get used to that. When it comes to picking accommodation, don't just say yes in a hurry. Go check it out at night, because you may find there's a party house next door and they crank up the music loud, or there's a family with 7 or 8 dogs. So these are the kind of things you want to check out. But loud music you're going to hear a lot of. A lot of expats, and that's the foreigners who move here, they like to find tranquil areas to live in, and then when they want to go into the noise to karaoke events or concerts, then they know what to expect. It's going to be noisy, it's going to be loud. At least you know that you can escape from it at the end and have a nice sleep. Money being the main focus. You may not be used to that, but down here it's kind of very simple. The culture is a lot about the money, and that could be good in some situations and bad in others. You can sometimes get out of the grip of cops by offering them money, where in another country you may be arrested for that. But it can also be bad sometimes, that it's all about money, and what you really wanted was genuine friendship or love. So you got to just be aware of that. Test them whether it's all about money, and see how they react when you say no. Sometimes it's about stuff, or whether you'll give them that drink. If you haven't met a person before, they come up and say, what's your name, where are you from, and do you want some company tonight? And you go, no thanks. Then the next question is going to be, can you buy me a drink? See how they handle. If you desire maybe hanging out with that person, see how they handle being rejected. And then you can say, well, I'll tell you what, you seem sweet. I don't know you though, so if you buy the first round, I'll get the second round. How does that sound? And then some of them just start getting very lippy and nasty, and then you caught them out. You found out what they were really like in a heartbeat there, which can be helpful.